Let us now begin with the first process group of the project management lifecycle, initiation. The objective of the project initiation process group, it helps in getting your project started with a strong foundation. As mentioned here, the main goal is to formally select and start off projects. Now what happens many times, you have multiple projects to select from and you have to do a project selection, which project will be of more importance and bigger priority than the others, and you start off with that project. So this project initiation phase includes the project selections from a bunch of projects, or it could be like starting a project which you have won from X or Y customer. So in this phase you recognize and start a new project or a project phase. Now here we have mentioned that the project phase, a new project phase. What happens in the case of large projects, the larger project is having its own project management life cycle, and the sub projects which are created to better manage this project, bigger project, these sub projects are having their own individual project management life cycles. So the bigger project will have its one project initiation phase, whereas these individual sub projects will have their own initiation phases. So from the larger project point of view, it could be the start of a new phase, but for the sub project, it is the start of its own project life cycle. Like some organizations use a pre-initiation phase, while others include items like developing a business case as part of initiation. Now when you talk about a process, the process needs inputs, certain inputs, and it needs certain tools and techniques to process that input and generate a required output. Like when we talk about a project initiation, the definition of the project initiation could be, it is the process of formally recognizing that a new project exists or that an existing project should continue into its next phase. Now this is the process definition. Now for project initiation phase, the inputs could be product description, strategic plan, project selection criteria, historical information, and it uses tools and techniques such as project selection methods and expert judgment. Now what are the outputs from this project initiation process, or what are the deliverables of this phase? Project charter, project manager identified or assigned, constraints identified, assumptions identified. Now what are the important aspects or activities of project initiation phase? You have business needs and opportunities, project selection methods, developing the project charter, and project stakeholder management. So these are basically the processes, broader processes in the project initiation process group or phase. Now as we mentioned in the earlier slide, that there are these outputs. So these outputs are nothing but the deliverables which are generated as part of the project initiation process. The key outputs could be assigning the project manager. So this is the phase where the project manager gets identified, the project gets into existence, project manager is assigned with this project, identifying key stakeholders. Now this is a process, you can say, which actually gives out a deliverable like a stakeholder register. You will be completing a business case, you will be completing a project charter and getting signatures on it. Remember, project charter is that document which is a legal document which authorizes the project manager and which gets the project into existence. So it's a very important document. And then you have constraints identified, assumptions identified. Now let us look at what could be the business needs and opportunities. Why one would take into account starting of a new project. So the business needs could be like keep up with the competition. Like the competition might be having certain products or services with the newer technologies, and you have to be in competition. You have to get new products or services for which you have to start certain projects, gain strategic advantage, respond to market demand. Like you might be getting demands from the existing customers or the new prospect customers that they might be requiring certain products or services, and you have to actually think about getting into that market segment or market area to cater to that demand. So you take up certain projects, address a problem, like like you might be having certain products or services which might be getting a lot of complaints from the customers, users, and it's a high time that you have to start a new project which addresses those problems or the concern areas, improve operations. Like certain times, a certain process flow. I mean, every project which you have, it has its own workflow, and using that workflow, the customer carry out the operations. Like if you consider in a hospital industry or hospital for that matter, the patient registration using the existing workflow defined in the software system could be taking say 10 minutes per patient. Now this could be a concern area, and the hospital management wants to improve upon this by bringing this waiting period from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. So they might consider floating a new project which deals with the newer workflow, which modifies the workflow, and a newer system with the improved performance is implemented, which helps the hospital to improve its operations, respond to customer requests. Like as I said, they just like the customers are giving out certain complaints or they are raising their concerns. Similarly, they might be requesting certain features or certain benefits. So you have to take into account if those customer requests are important and value addition and beneficial to the company's prospect, then you take up certain projects to cater to those requirements or the customer request. Pursue an opportunity as for new technology. Like in mobile, if you see, like the mobile technology is changing day by day. So the applications keep on changing. There are Android newer versions are coming. There are BlackBerry. There are different technologies. So this is a fast pace. You have to be very agile and keep on coming out with new version of the software. So similarly, you have to see what are opportunities available in the market, and you can tap those market opportunities. Now these are the business needs which we talked about. Now let us see what could be the external requirements. Now, external requirements could be conform to laws, maintain regulatory compliance. Like if you talk about the insurance industry, now they got the software systems which caters to their business functions, but these systems needs to comply with the IRDA rules. So if there is any policy change or regulatory compliance change or law change, you have to you start a project to cater to those change requirements. There could be an organizational initiative. Now, many times in the organizations merge with another organization, or it combines two different divisions together. They acquire new company. Now, when these kind of activities happen, you need a project which helps you to consolidate various functions together. Like if you take into account a healthcare organization, you may have to, if one hospital merges with another hospital, you may have to considerate various health related IT functions and infrastructure. Then there is a social good. This could be one of the reason why you will be taking up the project. Like green IT could be an initiative which falls under the social good category. So these are the basically the business needs and opportunities an organization can consider to take up a project or projects.